There is a bill at the state capitol that would protect women who feel pressured to have an abortion, like those involved in human trafficking or victims of sex assault. It also puts a 72-hour waiting period before an abortion can actually be done. Joining us now to talk about this is the executive director of the Travis County Democrats, J.D. Gins, and GOP consultant Matt Mackowiak. Thanks for being here, gentlemen.
Sure. Thank you.
First of all, Matt, I'll start with you. Why the sudden push to tighten abortion laws even more?
I don't know if I'd say sudden. It is true that in the first, I guess, 3 months or so of the Texas legislative session, there wasn't a lot of movement on pro-life legislation. Although those bills were filed, there's probably a dozen serious pro-life bills that have been filed. They're now going in front of committee, I think today in front of the House State Affairs Committee. So we'll see if any of them pass, but a lot of them have to do, again, with adding additional protections for the unborn. Just because we passed major pro-life legislation in the last legislative session doesn't mean that we have the perfect system. We always think we can do additional things to protect the unborn. You're seeing a little bit of a focus on the judicial bypass system, on reforming that system. So, we'll see what bills get through and what bills don't. There's not a lot of time left, 30 or 32 days left.
All right, J.D., your thoughts on this? Is this sudden to you? And do you think it is going to be a major push to tighten abortion laws even more?
I don't think there's anything sudden about the assault on women's rights to choose in Texas. Texas already has some of the strongest laws against women being able to make their own choices about their own health care decisions. And for some people who are opposed to any and all abortion, safe and legal abortion, they're not going to stop until they've done everything they can to limit almost everything. So while after the 2013 session we thought it probably couldn't get any worse, it's clear that there's a lot of legislators who don't think the job is done, and they're going to continue to restrict the right of women to make their own choices.
Well, obviously those are your viewpoints on this one, and Democrats that you speak before, but let me ask you this. What's the likelihood that this could actually pass?
It's hard to tell exactly where it is right now in the committee and how likely it is to pass. Right now, there's not a lot that Democrats can do to stop it, so it's going to take some sensible Republicans slowing some of this stuff down and really saying, is this necessary? I don't know how far along in the process it is. The session's almost over, but there's always special sessions, and if the legislators decide to get behind it, it could definitely move.
Matt, do you believe this will pass?
Well, as I said, there's probably a dozen serious bills. I don't know which ones will get through and which ones won't. They are gaining steam, but again, they didn't move very far in the first 3 or so months of the legislature. Look, at the end of the day, this is about protecting the unborn. It's not necessarily about women, quote, women's rights, as J.D. references it. Pro-abortion Democrats believe that you can abort a fetus who weighs 8 pounds and is in the 35th month of pregnancy. We don't believe that that's reasonable. And so putting reasonable restrictions that are constitutional into state law is what I think Republicans are going to advance. We'll see what bills get through this legislative session. It's important to remember the state of Texas is a very pro-life state. We have very pro-life laws in Texas, and strengthening those laws where we can and where they make sense, I think, is good policy and good politics.
And J.D., I want to ask you too. We are seeing this emergence of more bills, as he mentioned. What do you think Texas is sending as a national message?
I think we're trying to be the strongest, and I think we're showing a lot of the people across the country that women's choices are not the priority here. Nobody, the legislator, nobody is pushing 35-week abortions. Right now, what they're trying to push and what's in front of the State Affairs tonight is using human trafficking, which is a terrible thing, as an excuse to villainize abortion. The truth is, when women go in to get an abortion, they have to talk to a doctor. And doctors are trained to know when they seem to think that kind of situation is happening. We should trust our staffs, and we should trust those doctors and the women to make their own decisions.
And we are out of time. 10 seconds for you, Matt. The last word.
Again, I think putting additional reasonable restrictions on a very serious thing like abortion, which ends a life, is, I think, reasonable, and that's what you're going to see in the state of Texas continue.
J.D. and Matt, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.